Man, it's almost like they're trying to make worse episodes every week on purpose. There is no other way to explain what I just watched right now. This was just so bad, so unenjoyable, and so uninspired that nobody could possibly like this. I mean, it's just like really, really dumb, especially the end. But obviously, before we get to the end, we gotta get to the front, you know what I'm saying? And we gotta do it segment by segment. All right, let's get to it. I'm a little tired, but somehow I made it through this episode, so you're gonna have to bear with me as well. Kex. Basically, the show starts out, CM Punk is waiting outside for Rollins, right? Adam Pearce shows up. CM Punk basically says, when Rollins comes in, it's on site. Great. Like, how much longer are we going to have to tolerate this storyline? I mean, they've been doing this for like 2 years now. Like at least, like in January, they had like a random match on Raw that CM Punk won, and I thought that was going to be the end of the feud. And here we are. So, whatever, it is what it is. I could give a shit. Nobody cares about this. I'm tired of CM Punk. I'm tired of him being on TV and like complaining and bitching and moaning. More about that later. But basically, like this is the premise of the show, right? Like this is like the overarching storyline of the show. CM Punk is waiting for Rollins. It leads to absolutely nothing, as we're going to see later. But after this, they move on and they show people coming in. Nobody could care less, right? Jey Uso comes out and he explains that he is a Roman lackey for life. Although nobody actually helps him out. Like basically, he says, I could have focused on my own match, but family's important to me, Oos. And it's like, shut the fuck up, bro. Just shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to hear this anymore. We're tired of family's important to me. Fucking Fast and Furious, like Samoan dynasty up in this bitch. Nobody wants to watch this crap, right? Remember when like there was like a Fast and Furious movie? I didn't watch this one, but it's like The Rock all of a sudden like enlists his cousins like Roman Reigns and other people. Like what the fuck? This went from like car racing to like a Samoan tribal movie. I don't even know what the fuck's happening. Anyways, it is what it is. This was not a good like segment. Jey Uso is problematic because Jey Uso pretty much embodies everything wrong with wrestling today. Like, he's an uninspired wrestler. He's lame, but he's over. I will admit that, and I appreciate that, but he's not even that over, right? Like, he's over because of the presentation of Jey Uso, right? Like, he can get the fans to say what he wants them to say because he primes them for it, right? It's not like, for example, remember back in the day when The Rock would just cut a promo, like a random-ass promo? And basically, The Rock would just say something, and the fans would just get on it. You know what I mean? He'd be like, now everyone's going to call this guy an asshole. And everyone would call him an asshole, right? That's far different than what Jey Uso does. He just primes people to say the few things that they're programmed to say, right? It's like, I don't even understand what the point of these fans is. They're just there to have like a good time and just chant along. Like, it's like the collective IQ of that arena was probably like 45, Everyone there was like fucking stupid as shit, it seemed like. So anyways, it is what it is. But basically, that's pretty much this entire segment. This entire segment is Jey Uso coming out. LA Knight comes out. He's a little bit better. He's the only one that can actually get the crowd involved, like really involved. And then Bronson Reed, and in a way, Braun Breaker can too, with the who like chants, you know what I mean, the barking. But like basically, all four of these guys come out, and a match is set up between them two versus the other two. The lackeys of the Vision versus Jey Uso and fucking what's his face, was LA Knight, right? It's so hard to remember these guys. They're such bores. Even LA Knight at this point is just like he's not doing anything with his career. It's a complete waste, And this is like basically the same main event that we've had for the last several months. Like on Raw, it's the same shit that happens every time. This is just unbearable, right? It's just like fans doing what they're told to do, and through this, the two teams have an interaction. You know what I mean? It was really odd if you think about it. And basically, like I said, it was unbearable. But speaking of unbearable, we get yet another Japanese girl. Friendship is not magic segment. Gomenasai. You know what I'm saying? Like, Asuka, like, is there. She's basically a heel. You know what I mean? She's a heel in a face faction. And Kairi Sane is like an idiot, which really fits with her abilities in the ring. She doesn't even know when she's the legal woman half the time. I don't even think she understands what's going on, And then we've got Io Sky, like she's just another like, random ass face with no personality. Like that's pretty much what's happening here. Obviously there's tension, nobody cares. It's the same thing happened with Bayley and Io Sky. Now they've just switched it around a little bit. Same concept. Anyways, This leads to the Kabuki Warriors versus the Judgment Day in what was a massive botch fest, right? The Kabuki Warriors win the match, but nobody cares because there wasn't anything on the line. That wasn't even like a number one contenders match. It was just a match, right? They beat the bad guy team, even though they are kind of a bad guy team. But the worst part of this, in my personal opinion, was the fact that the match was just full of botches. Now, there's different types of botches. There's botches when someone tries to do a move and they fail. There was plenty of that. And then there's also botches where nobody tries to do a move and fails, but they do the move, but it just looks like shit, right? Like they actually go through with the move, but the move just looks terrible. We had a lot of that as well, right? Otherwise, the match was too long, but if you like this kind of wrestling, that's probably a good thing. The hater thinks it's a waste of time, but what do I know, motherfucks? After this, we get a little promo of Adam Pearce saying that it'll be Vaquer and Io at WrestlePalooza, right? Because they're already going to try to shove this down your throats. I'm going to boycott that shit. I could give a fuck. After this, Finn and JD McDonough come out and they just straight up look like an indie tag team. They have indie tag team music. They have indie tag team, attire, and they look like an indie tag team. JD McDonough has his hair in a braid like Zarya from NXT. Remember Zarya, by the way? Wasn't she supposed to be like this next big thing? Whatever. Anyways, she's like the female Obafemi. Like nobody gives a shit about her, but they pretend she's good. Anyways, after this, we learned that it's Finn Balor versus Dragon Lee. The match is stupid. Like Judgment Day interferes, but it's fucking Dragon Lee. Finn Balor at the end of the day is a former world champion in this company. Dragon Lee is a former 100% jobber who just had his first win last week. So this should be a squash match. But anyways, basically Dragon Lee goes to do like the Trio of Woe double stomp, and then Finn Balor just yoinks him from the head and does his own double stomp and wins the match. It was whatever. Again, it's just a match that nobody wanted to see. A match that had no bearing on anything. And quite frankly, the French crowd is annoying. Every time there would be a 2 count, they'd be like, un, deux, sacre bleu. Fucking way to live to the stereotype, France. Anyways, then after this, the exact same interaction of Japanese broads happens again for absolutely no reason at all. Cody apparently has a podcast, and I'm glad to see that he's doing this podcast while he plays absentee champion on SmackDown. This guy's like a fucking joke. Like he just leaves, he becomes the champion, he just leaves, and we talk about what podcast he's gonna have next. This is no longer a wrestling company, and this company is a fucking joke. I'm gonna do a video on that tomorrow, I bet. After this, New Day come out with their shit rap music, and they get utterly humiliated by Penta and the War Raiders, who haven't been on TV in about 3 months. There's nothing really to worry about here. The finish of the match was fun. Penta does a destroyer off of Ivar's back after they hit the whatever the fuck it's called, the wasteland, whatever they call it now. It has a new name every 2 weeks. Their main finishing move they used to do, the backdrop into now it's a body splash. It was completely botched. Raymond Rowe or whatever, Eric throws, I think it's Kofi. He throws Kofi up and then Ivar completely misses him. He just does a splash and meets him kind of halfway but doesn't land on top of him, right? So it just looks stupid. It just looks exactly what it is. Eric just throws the guy and the guy falls. And then, independently of this, Ivar just jumps and falls on his stomach like a retard, right? The match wasn't good. I don't give a shit about the New Day. The New Day should be released. They should have been released 10 years ago. Nobody gives a fuck about them. They had an opportunity to turn heel and do something, but it's the second worst heel turn of all time after Cena. Complete disaster. I hated it. Then we get another incoherent Asuka moment. We had 3 or 4 of these tonight. It was unbearable. I don't give a shit. Asuka doesn't know what she's saying. It's so clear that she has no idea what she's saying. Good on her for learning the lines. She's been in this country 10 years and she fucking can't speak the language. That's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with people that have been in this country for 10 fucking years. She says it herself. She's like, I've been making history for 10 years. You haven't fucking learned the language of the country you live in for 10 years. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What do you do? How do you get by in life? It's fucking embarrassing, man. The hater's been in Brazil for 3 weeks, and if I stayed for 3 more months, I'd be a fucking poet in Portuguese. It's unbelievable how lackadaisical these people are with their careers. You know what I mean? This is your job. You know what I mean? It's one thing to come here if you want to be somebody that's here, you want to be an Uber driver or something, pretend you're deaf, nobody talks to you, and you talk through text message, be my guest. But this is unacceptable. Her job is partially to speak. Now, I think Asuka's done a good job with this, but now she's getting exposed because she's getting more speaking lines than like everybody else combined in any given episode. After this, it's time for AJ Styles, who comes out to a massive pop. And before we start the match, we get more backstage shit, right? One of the things of note was Lyra being Lyra. She's like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then basically she wants a match against one of the Judgment Day girls. They bring up Bayley, saying Bayley's going to be back in a few weeks. Adam Pearce says she's okay, whatever, and makes the match for next week. I don't remember if he said which one she's going to wrestle. Who gives a shit? We'll find out next week, cucks. There was no point to this segment whatsoever. This could have just not happened. And next week they could have just been like, oh, here's the match, Lyra versus like Roxanne Perez. The end. You don't need to advertise this match. No one's watching this thinking, well, I wasn't going to watch, but now that I'm going to see Lyra and Roxanne Perez, I'm definitely going to watch. Like, not one person thought that. It's a waste of time. Whatever. Eventually, we get like a segment of I Am God. So, you know, that's back on the menu, motherfucks. And eventually we get the match that was like this week's big match, right? It's Dom versus AJ. They do a bunch of moves. The match is decent, but it's just not believable. I mean, like, Dominic Mysterio, like, he has to cheat to win every match. That's the only thing believable about him, because this guy has, like, no muscles on his body. It's almost weird. Like, he's been in the company for, like, 5 years, since COVID, basically, and he hasn't gained any muscle. It's like, how is this possible, motherfuckers? How is this possible, bro? Go fucking work out a little bit more. Instead of eating, like, whatever fucking protein shakes, go eat some meat, like a real man. But basically, I still like Dominic, but it's just absurd. Like, AJ Styles would tear this guy apart in 3 seconds. And, like, the former Intercontinental Champions, like, some of them include people like Braun Breaker, who would fucking, like, tear this guy in 2 seconds if you wanted to. And it's just silly. But I like Dom. He wins after Ludwig Kaiser's version of El Grande Americano, who for some reason never wrestles anymore. He comes in and does, like, a faceplate, like, headbutt onto AJ Styles' chest. Right, and this allows Dominic to hit the frog splash for the win. Like, why would that hurt that much? If you hit someone if you headbutt someone on the chest, it's gonna suck. But like, it's not gonna like stop your heart, and it's not gonna knock you out or incapacitate you in any capacity. It's really, really poor booking. But whatever. Maybe he was going for the head, but it was like too hard to do, so he just did it to the chest. I don't know what happened. It was really dumb. But just do it to the head. Just do like a low impact headbutt, or at least, you know what would be smart? Like the prop that they considered the metal plate, make that like a sponge. You know, make it like a protector thing, so like you can actually headbutt someone hard, it doesn't hurt. Think this through, cucks. After this, CM Punk comes out up in this bitch, and the show gets kind of decent. Now the hater would like to do this in a boisterous hater voice, but I'm in a fucking, you know, like a gated community here in Brazil. Everyone's sleeping, so I can't. I'm out on the porch like a fucking vagrant, you know. So I gotta be quiet. But you know, don't worry. Tomorrow it'll be a bit better because I'll do the video later, cucks, or earlier, I should say. Whatever, doesn't matter, motherfucks. Anyways, CM Punk finally comes out, and basically, like, I don't know why. Really, he's just waiting on the fence. Now he's out. Becky Lynch comes out, and the fans chant AJ Lee, signaling that they know what is going on. It's really lame. I hated it. After this, AJ Lee, like, the chants continue forever, and nobody seems to remember that AJ Lee's like 4'6" and like 85 pounds. It's like you could go to the local gym and you can like, and like 99% of the girls there, if not 100, would beat the shit out of AJ Lee. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's some handicapped person there who's doing like using one machine with like their ass or something. Like, that's the only person she'd have a chance against. AJ Lee's like the least believable wrestler of all time. You know, she's less believable than Spike Dudley. Like, but anyways, whatever. They chant for her. She's probably going to come back at some point. You know, I mean, I think everyone can see it coming. Lynch basically speaks truth about CM Punk sucking ass. She buries the dumbass fans as well. She's mad that the fans chanted CM Punk during her matches, and she says CM Punk is the poster child for apathy. And she's 100% right, let's be honest, right? Fans chant to shut the fuck up. This is a complete waste of time. Like, nothing comes of this. Seth Rollins comes out and goads CM Punk from the fucking, ramp, right? CM Punk said earlier it's on site, but then he can't get past Becky Lynch because she's in his way, right? And then she starts saying he sucks, he smells bad, he's all sweaty and gross, and this is like really hurting CM Punk, like in kayfabe and probably in real life. She's basically saying you're a fucking loser, and CM Punk can't bring it upon himself to hit Becky Lynch, obviously, right? Personally, I thought to myself, if this was Stone Cold, he would have stunned this bitch like 2 seconds into the promo, you know? And like, I'm not saying that that's good, you know, like it's not good booking, because when Stone Cold did that, it was kind of like, all right, we already know what's going to happen. Like, you know, the different question would be asked, right? It'd be like, why are people still trying to celebrate by drinking beers with Stone Cold? You know, he just like stunners you during that, right? Most of the time, like 99% of the time. But anyways, the fact that CM Punk can't do anything about Becky Lynch really is just poor storytelling, right? Maybe you can hire Marina Shafir, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, it's a complete waste of time. I hated it. After this, like, as I said, Rollins came out, and Becky also slaps, quote unquote, CM Punk. She just pretty much pushes his face a couple of times, and she just belittles him on a masculine level, which I thought was great. She also explains, like I said, that basically he's the poster child for apathy, which I think is a very apropos insult, right? Like, that's pretty much the entire CM Punk character is this apathetic loser, right? And now they've added elements of, like, this guy, like, sucks. He thinks he's the best, but he always comes up short. You know what I mean? So whatever. After this, like, the segment just ends. So, like, CM Punk eventually goes to the back, but he doesn't pursue Seth Rollins anymore, as far as we know. So that's how that goes down. It's time for the lackeys in the main event, which involve LA Knight and Bronson. The lackeys basically win once Breakker hits a spear against Uso, and they beat the shit out of the two face lackeys, if you will, right? The LA Knights and the Jey Usos, right? Jimmy Uso comes to make the save after the beating has already finished. It's completely retarded. I think they're just setting up the War Games. And, what more is there to say about this, man? It wasn't entertaining. I fucking hated it. I'm tired. And don't worry, tomorrow I'll have way more energy, and we'll go from there. Because tomorrow I got nothing to do but rest. It's going to be amazing. So with that being said, take care of yourselves. Cucksters.